A blessed day. Let us move forward to another chapter in this course, Math in the Modern World. This chapter is titled The Language of Mathematics. Mathematics often looks like a collection of symbols, but mathematics is not just the symbols that we see on paper, but what those symbols mean. And it doesn't matter what country you are from or what language you speak. If you are trained to mathematics, you will understand what those symbols mean. Therefore, mathematics is referred to as a universal language. It rises above words. In fact, it is quite possible that mathematics will be the common link between ourselves and any aliens that we may meet one day. So whenever we talk about referring to the systematic means of communicating ideas or feelings. So, whenever we study language, we have to learn patterns on how we create sentences, how we combine words. So, uh, let me say this language is a systematic means of communicating ideas or feelings. Mathematics was designed so we can write about things. So we can write about things in terms of digits. So when we say digits, we are referring to these numbers 0, 1, 2, 3. Previously, historically, before the Arab numerals, we have the Roman numerals, which was introduced in the European countries. So, however, the Arabs introduced this numerical system that we are using right now, and we will be basically discussing these numerals. So, to start with, understanding the language of mathematics, we should understand the families of these numbers. So, let us have this number system. So we have the complex number represented by C, wherein it is divided by real numbers and imaginary numbers. For the real numbers, it is further divided into two categories, the irrational number and rational number. So something which is not rational is irrational. So what do we mean when we say rational numbers? Rational numbers are numbers that can be expressed by A over B, where B is not equal to 0. So when we say rational numbers, we are referring to decimals, fractions, or quotient of two numbers that can be which decimals might be terminating, or if it is not terminating, we have non-terminating but repeating. So let me start with the terminating decimal. An example is 1/2. So if we have a fraction 1/2, the decimal value of 1/2 is 0.5. The decimal digit terminates or meron siyang end. So hanggang 0.5 lang siya, 0.5000. So then we say that the decimal is terminating. An example of a rational number with decimal, which decimals is actually non-terminating but repeating, that is 1/3, for example. The value of 1/3 is 0.33333 and so on. Usually we put a bar at the top to show repetition of that number or that decimal number. Okay, so while in the irrational numbers, we have non-terminating, so hindi rin siya humihinto. However, it is not repeating. If you still remember the golden ratio that we have a non-terminating decimal and non-repeating. So, we can say that that golden ratio is an example of irrational number. So, another examples of irrational numbers are the pi, yung 3.14, something that. So, but if we round it off, that is 3.1416. So, example yon ng irrational number. So, okay. Then, we have now integers. Integers, hindi siya mahirap intindihin since we have the negative numbers, the positive numbers, and 0. So, please remember that integers or 0 is neither negative nor positive. So, walang sign si 0. So, we have the negative numbers and positive numbers plus 0. So, yun yung mga integers. So, kapag yung mga numbers include 0 at mga positive numbers, ito yung 0, 1, 2, 3, we call them whole numbers. Kapag naman positive sila, or yung mga non-negative numbers, we call them as the natural or counting numbers. So, di ba pag nagka-count tayo, we start with 1 and we do not really start with 0. That's why they are called the natural or counting numbers. So again, this is the real number system or the number system that we have in general. So usually kasi sa basic mathematics natin, or in elementary and high school, they introduce to us the real numbers. But aside from real numbers, meron pa tayong mas malaking umbrella, which is the complex numbers, which includes the imaginary numbers. Okay, moving on. We have the language of mathematics, and aside from they are used to write about things involving numbers, we also write about things involving symbols that stand in for values. So, in mathematics, you will see letters. So, mga letters na ginagamit natin sa alphabet, A, B, C, D. So, X, Y, Z, yan, ginagamit natin yan to represent something, to show or to represent something unknown. And that letter might represent a certain value. Okay, so aside from the alphabet that we know, we also have other special symbols. No, may mga ginagamit tayong mga Greek letters na may familiar tayo kung ano yung value. So, minsan naman, they are just symbols used to represent a conventional idea in mathematics. So, yung pi, familiar tayo kapag ginahanap natin yung area ng circle, circumference ng circle. So, we have the value of pi, the 3.1416. Then, as a golden ratio, no, yung phi na ginamit natin, nagkakaintindihan tayo pag nakita ninyo yung symbol na yon. Then, we also have other Greek letters that we use to show or describe angles. For example, alpha, beta, yan. So, pero hindi lang limited ang mga letters na yon to represent the angles. So, marami pa silang marami pang pwedeng paggamitan yung mga special symbols na to. So, with the digits, with the symbols, and the other special symbols, what do we do with those things? So, we have to use operations. We operate them. So, ito yung mga symbols na ginagamit natin. Yung unang 4, familiar tayo dyan. So, we have plus, minus, times, and divide. No? So, symbol for addition, for subtraction, for multiplication, and division. So, then we have the union and the intersection as another operations that we use when we talk about sets. So, there will be a portion in your discussion that you will have the concept of sets. But for now, yan. What we are saying is that para magkaroon ng meaning yung mga symbols, yung mga letters, and yung mga special symbols, what we do with those things, we use operations. Okay. So, i-connect nouns and sentences. Now, in English, so actually, we are familiar with nouns. These are a name given to object of interest. So it might be a name of person, place, things. So we all know that in English. And we have the sentence. When we say sentence, we are talking about a word or group of words which state a complete thought. So there are statements which are true. Example, the capital of the Philippines is Manila. There is also statements which are false. An example, the capital of the Philippines is Makati. So that is a false statement, but it shows a complete thought. And there are statements which are sometimes true and sometimes false. Example, the dog is black. Okay, the dog is black. Hindi naman all cases the dog is black. Sometimes true, sometimes false. So, i-relate natin ito in mathematics. So, yung mga nouns na meron tayo, no, are name given to mathematical object of interest. So, instead of nouns, we are referring to expressions. Okay? So, they may be numbers, they may be a set, a function, a matrix, or ordered pairs. So, yan yung mga pwedeng mga tinatawag nating expressions in mathematics. When we say mathematical expression, this is the correct arrangement of mathematical symbols used to represent a mathematical object of interest. So, these are expressions that do not state a complete thought. When we say x plus y, so this is just an expression. We just simply combine x plus y, pero wala tayong complete sentence about that. Okay? We have this, 1 plus 1 is equal to 2. So, yung 1 plus 1, parang yung kanina, x plus 1, x plus y. So, yung 1 plus 1 here is the expression. Yung 2, siya naman yung, is another expression. Tapos, we have the equal sign as our verb. So, nagko-connect ng expression, dalawang expression yung verb natin. Parang ganyan sa English, we need nouns and other parts of speech for us to combine, no? And for us to have a complete thought. So, combining all of this makes up a sentence. So, we have the term mathematical sentence. It is the correct arrangement of mathematical symbols that states a complete thought. So, ayan. A correct arrangement of mathematical symbols that states a complete thought. So, let me itong figure na to, no? Meron tayong expression. So, kino-combine natin yung mga mathematical objects like numbers, sets, functions, matrix, ordered pairs. Silang gagamitin natin to create sentences. So, let us have a sentence which is true. So, 1 plus 1 is equal to 2 is true, no? And it states a complete thought. While 1 plus 1 equals 11, still, meron yung complete thought, pero hindi siya totoo. So, parang kanina, meron tayong sentence which is true, and sentence which is false. No? Ganyan din sa mathematics. And there are conditional statements. No? Sometimes true, sometimes false. X is equal to 1, sometimes true, sometimes false. Okay? So, says, no, is the mathematical, is a formula that is either true or false. So, mathematical sentence is a formula that is either true or false. Huwag na nagko-contain ng one or more variables. Example, yung 2x plus 3 is equal to 10. So, this is a sentence which is sometimes true, sometimes false, depending on the value of x. So, kaya nga kapag meron tayong problems, find the value of x, ang hinahanap natin nun, kung ano ang magiging solusyon doon sa equation na yon, kung saan yung mga hanap nating value ng x or whatever letter that we use will satisfy the given equation. Okay? So, kaya siya sinasabing open sentence or conditional equation kasi the truthfulness of this statement depends on the value of x. Same also with x plus y is equal to 8. Maraming pwedeng maging totoo dyan. Pwedeng when x is 2, y should be 6 para maging 8 yan. Diba? So, pero pag x is equal to 1 and y is equal to 5, 1 plus 5 is just 6, then it is not equal to 8. So, hindi totoo yung sentence na yon. So, ayan, yun, kaya siya tinawag na open sentence because it depends on what value of x and y, no, to make the sentence true. So, yun yung sa initial portion about the concept of language. So, meron tayong mga tinatawag in the mathematical language. When we say convention, it is a fact, name, notation, or usage which is generally agreed upon by mathematicians. So, pag nakita natin siya na ganun yung ginagawa or pagkakasulat, ibig sabihin, commonly use siyang ganun. Agreed ng mga mathematician yung ganung format or yung ganoong term. Let's say, for example, pag sinabi nating dozen, it's a convention for us to know that 1 dozen is equal to 12. Whatever. Basta 12 pieces ang ibig sabihin ng isang dosena. Okay? So, pag sinabing 1 dozen of eggs, so 12 pieces of eggs. 1 dozen of shirts, no? So, 12 pieces of shirts. So, yun yung ibig sabihin. Convention sa atin, yung term na dozen. So, parang yung kavan of rice. Pag sinabi mong 1 kavan of rice, that means 50 kilograms. Okay. So, a kavan of rice is equal to 50 kilograms of rice. So, parang ganito din yung konsepto ng dozen. Then, ito yung irrational number natin na pi. So, that is 3.1416 by estimation, no, rounded off value. Pero, if you will look into the value of this, medyo mahaba siya. Then, ito yung sinasabi ko kaninang nilalagyan natin ng bar sa taas. If you are going to look into the value of 25 divided by 12, so that is actually 2.083333. So, yung 3, repeating na siya. No? So, instead of writing yung 3 all throughout, ang gagawin natin, lalagyan ng bar sa taas para mapakita na repeating yung decimal. No? So, repeating decimals are sometimes written with a bar over the digits that repeat. Okay, let's say for example, 1 over 7. So, the value of 1 over 7 is 0.142857. Tapos, uulit yung buong yan. 142857, 142857. So, instead na isulat lahat, yung mga nag-repeat lang, no? Sila yung lalagyan ng bar. So, yung buong digits, no? Okay, tulad nito. So, the standard mathematical writing avoids repeating the left-hand side in the sequence of equation in which the left-hand side remains constant. So, instead of writing it na n squared, n squared, n squared dito sa left side, so, ang ginagawa na lang natin, it's a convention in mathematics, itong format. So, ilagay na lang sa left side yung isang n squared. So, kung ano man yung sinusolve natin on the right side, naglalagay na lang tayo ng equal sign. Then, pagdating sa dulo, pwede na lang ulitin din yung n squared. No? So, pero hindi na natin kailangan ulit-ulitin pang isulat yung previous na natin, n squared. Okay. In mathematics is the term PEMDAS. PEMDAS is actually a acronym for the parentheses, exponent, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. So, kailangan alam mo kung ano yung una mong isosolve. Yung mga numbers within the parentheses, followed by exponent, kung may exponent man siya. Then, kung may operation na multiplication, gawin muna yung multiplication. Then, kung merong division, after multiplication, magdi-division ka. So, if merong pang kasunod na operations, then you do addition followed by subtraction. So, dapat ganyan yung sequence. When we are young, we were taught about MDAS. MDAS, my dear Aunt Sally pa ang tawag natin na, no? Para hindi makalimutan yan. Pero since we are learning higher mathematics, no? Meron tayong mga konsepto ng grouping symbols and exponents. Kaya meron tayong PEMDAS. Some references are calling it GEMDAS. Instead na P, gagawin siyang G. So, instead na parenthesis, magiging siyang grouping symbols. So, kasi minsan hindi naman kung isang grouping symbols ang nakikita natin. So, kung meron kayong sinosolve na mga items na marami ang grouping symbols, ang pinaka-basic na instruction dyan, gawin nyo muna yung nasa innermost, yung pinaka nasa loob ang unang isolve ninyo. Okay. So, those are examples of the conventions in mathematics na kapag nakita natin, nagkakaintindihan na tayo kung anong ibig sabihin nun. Okay? So, for this section, I will cut it there sa PEMDAS. Next topics will be on mathematic symbols, no, followed by the translation. So, pag familiar na kayo sa mga conventions, familiar na kayo sa language ng math, yung pagbuo ng mga sentences. So, pag-usapan naman natin ano yung mga ibig sabihin ng mga mathematic symbols na yan. Yung mga at least lagi natin nakikita. Para pag nakita natin siya, na-encounter ninyo siya, familiar kayo kung anong ibig sabihin. Again, mathematics is just like learning another language. No? When you study mathematics, you are learning new language. So, importante na alam nyo yung ibig sabihin ng mga symbols na yan at kung paano siya nagagawa or ano yung ginagawa ng mga symbols with numbers. Okay? So, after this, we will be also discussing about translations. So, yung from English statement, ita-translate mo siya into mathematical symbols and vice versa. Ibibigay ko yung math symbols, then gagawin nyo siyang English sentence or mathematical sentence. So, ganun. Okay? So, that will be all for this section. We will still have more in the next videos.